let's just do this. We'll just rub
Yeah.
the
Yes.
lady down.
I'll be like
Oh
it's some
my God.
people
I'm
watching.
getting-
Okay. Let's go on.
That feels so good. What kind of
I
material
know.
is that?
It's
Some,
PVC.
Some
You just
plastic
sprayed
shit.
it on.
But yeah, it's nice and it's warm actually. That's the best
Really?
part about it because it's kind of has like a little layer,
Oh, okay,
inner
little
layer.
fleecy
Yeah,
thing.
fleecy. Yeah, yeah. So
Fleece.
yeah, and I love the white and the
Yeah,
metallic.
and,
And,
I don't. I have nothing. I
have
have
nothing
nothing.
She's
for
like,
once.
You got a little,
ah, you're like a.
sparkle,
little bling
sparkle,
here.
yeah, in the hand.
Oh yeah. So, how are
You
you?
were telling us how much you loved Emily Perez.
Amelia.
Amelia.
Okay, seriously, sorry, but I haven't heard about. But give me a little bit of context about this movie.
It's
and apologies for
it's
being so
it's based
disconnected.
it's based in Mexico. Basically, it's this prosecutor who was kidnapped by a drug cartel.
Based on a true story?
I don't know. I don't think so. And it's a musical.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Like when they sing, I'm just like. Oh. So he kidnapped her, and he wanted to transition to becoming a woman. Like he has killed.
He kidnapped
his-
a surgeon to
not
help
the surgeon, prosecutor. And he's like, I want you to find me a clinic because I want to become a woman. And he gave her like $2 million or something. He's bribing her. And he's talking to her and he's singing like this guy with like tattoos on his face. And so she goes to Thailand and they start singing about all the procedure. They make it like a ridiculous, like about transitioning. I think even the trans people are like
Too much.
outraged. Like it's just this is a mockery of the whole situation. And then she goes to Tel Aviv and meets with this doctor, and he's telling her, "You can change the body, but you cannot change who you are." But the whole point is like when she transitions to becoming a woman, she's gonna become a better person. I was like, I
It
couldn't.
won
I couldn't.
awards? Because
It won like 4 Golden
Globes.
Globes.
Awful, like beyond awful.
It's
like not even awful in a good, funny awful. It's just like awful.
It's awful. It's awful. I couldn't stand watching more than I stayed for 20 minutes.
Good shot.
And I skipped a little bit, just watching like snippets of it. I'm like, oh my God, what is this nonsense?
But it won awards. Okay, great. I'm glad. Like,
It's
show us
just-
how
and
ridiculous the awards are.
Like, I think I read like a little bit, like an article this morning about it. It's like they say Mexican people are infuriated how they depicted their culture, and they didn't even film it in Mexico. They filmed it in France.
you know those deserts.
It was just,
deserts
I
of
don't know
France.
what's Hollywood is just a crazy place.
going
to be.
down.
I think they think like, oh, we're gonna like help the trans agenda, but it was just ridiculous. Like Jesus Christ, it was like
Crying. Jesus Christ is crying.
crying. Is crying. It's like Jesus. Jesus
Time to
Cristo.
come back now, buddy. Things are getting a little crazy.
I was like, no, this is insane. It's just becoming.
Yeah. I'm like you now. I really don't know. Like if there's something that Marty wants to see, I trust him. It's like, oh, I go. He actually told me yesterday about Substance. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh yeah, I didn't see it. I
Yeah,
didn't see it.
anyway.
I read a little bit about it, and I heard about
he
it.
liked it. He found it. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it. We'll bring him on. He can tell us. But yeah, it's been interesting to like watch these things where like they put the camera on a celebrity. And it's like, I don't have
But
any
I
idea
found
who
it,
that person is. Like, I'm just old. I mean, some of it's just
Yeah.
getting old. The other thing, we watched the Super Bowl yesterday, and we got an American feed. So we're getting the American commercials, because sometimes in Canada, they don't show you. They show you the Canadian stuff. And it was like, I recognize pretty much every Super Bowl commercial. They used to be funny. They used to be silly. And now, to be a Super Bowl commercial, you just have to have a celebrity. And they're the older celebrities now. And they're all like, it's either like a combination of like, Botox filler and CGI. Like it's like, it looks like Tom Cruise, but is it Tom Cruise? It's like, That looks like Chris Pratt, but is it Chris Pratt? That looks like Orlando Bloom, but is it Orlando Bloom? That looks like Drew Barrymore, but is that that looks like Harrison Ford, but is it Harrison Ford? Like, there's like every commercial had these big celebrities. Eugene Levy had something with his eyebrows. Like, it was like, and not. I mean, I was a lot of them are muted, so I don't know exactly what they're saying. But the few I watched was like, they're not funny. They used to watch Super Bowl.
Yeah,
for
they
the
were like,
funny.
yeah.
There was one that was
creative and funny.
and I think
yeah.
now they just put their money into like booking these celebs or
Yeah.
booking their likeness. Because a part of me is like, this has got to be AI. They just got to be like,
Really? And they would let them like they.
no, you pay for your They pay for
Ah,
you to use your
okay,
likeness, but you don't have to show up to shoot anything. I don't know. This is
Oh,
me.
I believe that.
Yeah, 'cause
we're
there
going
was
there.
just something a little bit off. And again, they're all full of Botox and stuff, and they are a little bit heavier and older. So, and I haven't paid attention.
Well, talking about Botox and substance, I find it ironic that they chose Demi Moore, who had done so much stuff on her face, to depict a person who has done so much about her. You know that this.
I don't know about her.
Well, it's a
Botox.
woman who wants to become young, and
she's
she-
feeling she's getting pushed out.
yeah.
She's aging out of
Yeah.
her industry.
Yeah, and then she started. The more she stays in that young person's body, the more she becomes old. You know,
Deteriorates
Dete-
faster.
yeah, she deteriorates faster. And I'm feeling like they could have chosen a woman who hasn't done anything. I don't know. It's the message is a bit off for me.
Just in the casting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know about.
If
haven't
you
been following
criticize like women injecting stuff in their face and doing Botox and everything, maybe you should choose a woman who hasn't done Botox and facelifting, right? I don't understand. I don't understand anything anymore.
I don't know. I haven't watched a movie in so long.
I watched Baby Girl with
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman.
I haven't even heard of that.
You're not. I watched.
This is the worst movie review.
Okay,
podcast
all right.
ever.
I'm not gonna talk about.
Maybe we should not talk about movies.
What's the last movie you saw?
Gosh, like a
Not the kids. Not with the
yeah,
kids. Like just
right.
For you.
Just for me, like for my own
Avatar
pleasure.
2.
Yeah, maybe.
Hobbit.
I swear, no. It must be Avatar 2. Like as an adult going to the movies, at least. That was the last one. You nailed it.
All right.
Yeah. Otherwise, I go to the movies for the kids. It's always kid movies, and on like the streaming platforms, I can't remember. I really can't remember watching a
interested
movie
in film myself.
because when I'm consuming on my own time, you know, if it's not like going to the cinema, it's usually podcasts.
Yeah.
Hey, podcasts.
I just rewatching our podcast.
Yeah, over and over. Seriously.
Get those views up, baby.
I'm just leaving it in the background and refreshing it every 1 hour.
It's been fun editing them because we have the conversation and then to edit it or to watch it again, it was like, oh, we did talk about that, or that wasn't interesting. Like, because we've done enough where I don't remember everything we've ever talked. Like, I forget it as soon as it comes out of my mouth. So to like watch it again, it'd be like, I am getting some value out of watching it again. It's just like, oh, like the last one we just posted, you started talking about how you burned your foot once and it brought back some really stark memories of being burned at the stake. It was just like, did we just like leave that there and then stop?
I know. That was the end of the podcast. And I was like,
wow.
oh, well, okay, goodbye.
Bye, ladies.
Bye. See you, witches.
Whatever. Yeah, I was like, that's a weird place to end. But yeah, what was that all
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, I think we cover a lot of very deep subjects and very casually. I love it. I think that's our flavor.
I feel like we need to make deep subject more casual.
Well,
Just
that's
to
what
make
we
it-
do.
They
We
become
do
more
that.
mainstream.
Well, I feel like the epitome of that was this 5-year-old really needs some dick. Like, that's such a funny way of talking about children's being raped. Like, anyway, it's your story, but to see you laughing about it and like kind of reaching like oh, it's like, okay, yeah, this is what we do. We
The whole
bring a
point of-
silliness.
Yeah, comedy. It's like trauma plus time is equal comedy. I think that's what happens.
And equal healing.
Well, healing comes with not with time. It comes with work. I think it's just yeah.
Anyway, back to your
Comedy
witch-
is a tool, right? Could be.
Oh
at
yeah,
least.
it's a very good
For
tool
healing.
for healing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
comedy
what I
helps a
meant.
lot.
Yeah.
When you have that humor in your life, it makes things
It makes things more approachable.
yeah.
Yeah, rather
Yeah.
than being this big scary thing, you can kind of bring a lightness to it to kind of ease yourself into facing and feeling.
Yeah.
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 So you were burned at the
So-
stake.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. So anyway, they put me on the stake.
They dragged
And
me
this
through
cute
the
guy was
village.
over there, and I could tell he was a little bit happy, but also a little bit sad.
And I'm like, whatever. I'm on a bar.
Later, losers.
This is kind of hot.
The hottest I've ever been.
I mean, something like that.
I was just taking the L.
See you
next
losers in
time.
hell. I'm getting there early. I'm gonna set up a little house. We'll have tea when you get there.
Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, so that life, okay. There was a period in my life after separation that through many events, I ended up in an apartment, not where my family lives, also not the family's home, an apartment by myself that I used as an office for my coffee business. And I had it for myself. That's the only space in my 46 years that I had for myself where I can just like get into an apartment, close the door, lock it, and it's mine. What's in the bathroom's mine. Well, there was dumb stuff that that wasn't there, but the person was not present, so it doesn't matter. Like the other
really
person wasn't.
felt like it
It
was
felt
for
like
you,
it's
it
my
was
space, first time
huge,
ever.
huge.
And we had to close down the business, and I had about 2 months of rent left on the place. So during those 2 months, I went into such deep shadow work, like Kali style, like
What style?
Kali, the goddess Kali.
Oh, Kali, like K.
Khali, Kali.
like-
She's the goddess of like darkness, like going into
underworld
darkness, the
stuff.
underworld. Yeah, getting all the shadows and transmuting them. It felt like that during that time. So I would get there at the office every morning.
Doing the work.
Yeah,
Going
do
to
the
work.
Yeah, really go to work from morning until like 5 o'clock. I clock out, go back, be a mom, and then repeat.
Like, go back to the underworld.
Yeah, go
Start digging
excavation
around.
style. What's there? I had like a board where I would put like affirmations. I would choose.
Making
would-
connections.
Yeah,
I'm very serious about
Oh,
this.
I was
Yeah,
born
yeah.
serious about this shit, man. Honestly, I'm like
After that last time on the stake, she's like, I'm not fucking doing
Yeah.
this again, man.
No,
Next
no.
time I'm coming back. Things are gonna be
I gotta
different.
take this seriously, So part of this time, where it was a lot of introspection, deep inner work, and there was a sauna in that building, and I would do sauna every day and meditation and stretching, and I was on the bars doing calisthenics. I would start swinging, and I
had a nice
transformed.
physical
Yeah, there was a lot
element
of
to it, too.
transformation
Amazing.
during these 2 months, like intentional, focused work. I was working. During that time, I had a lot of vision of past lives, many different past lives. Monly. Well, honestly, a lot of
Moaning.
work, or all of what on the schedule was self gratification, listening to music that awakens the divine feminine, and opening my chakra through like masturbation. So moaning, but that's not what I said. I wasn't wanted to say.
Save that one for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
People
So
on
I was meaning, but now I forgot what I was meaning. Mainly.
You're talking about swinging and sauna and
Yeah, and all that work.
opening up.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
chakras.
So remembering all the past lives, mainly the ones that were difficult, like the ones that needed integration, right? The ones that need to come up and be like, okay, those wounds, I guess, that were carried in the biofield
stuff that needed to
of
still
my
be
soul.
healed.
Yeah. And I burnt my foot physically one evening, boiling pasta and just like putting the pasta.
How the fuck do you make pasta?
Yeah.
How's your foot?
She's very retarded when she makes pasta.
I'm like
Using your feet.
a master chef,
Best life as a chef.
and only master chef really burn themselves though.
You put your foot under the strainer. You're doing yoga and making pasta at the same
Puts
time.
the pasta between her toes to strain.
Like it's water spilled or something, then you stepped in it.
Yeah, obviously.
We love you. We love you.
Silliness.
Yes. Now, what
Always
really
say
happened,
You guys done yet?
ladies? All right, children. Now we can listen.
We're so unserious.
I was straining the pasta, okay, and next to me there was a pile of something moved, right? That startled me because I was very much in my thoughts because I lived half here, half like in the somewhere else. Yeah,
Oh, I get that.
yeah. And so what I got startled, the boiling water spilled over to my foot. Yeah, it spilled right to my foot from the sink. So fine, whatever. I put water on it and cream on it after. But the next day when I was back at the office and I was working, and my foot was burning and I had big bubbles full of like water, you know, like
Pus.
the cluck, the
Pus,
I
it's
don't
more
know,
like
it's like it fills up
yeah.
with
There is a word for it.
liquid, protective liquid. It
You
is
know, it's
kind of
just the
pussy,
skin gets like bumpy.
but it's not like infected or anything.
It's not infected. It's
you
just
know,
water.
It's just really
boils.
boils. Yeah, like a witch, baby. It's not boils. But I don't know what the freak they're called. You know,
Yeah, like the burn happens, the skin raises, and
Yes.
then
The
fluid
skin
is sent
fluid,
in to
yeah.
help heal the area below.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
whatever that
they
is.
were
We're doctors. We
yeah. They were this
don't know
big.
much about movies or anatomy, apparently.
Yeah,
It's fine.
but we know about witches.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really
as big
as those. No, yeah, imagine. Ha ha ha. There you go.
Spoiled foot.
It was all over like that, but no, they were impressive. Anyway,
Like second or third degree burns on your foot.
something like that. Very. It took a year for the scar to kind of like go down. So during that meditation, my foot, I had my foot up and it was burning me, like my whole nervous system. You know, it felt like raw. I felt like everywhere in my body, like my skin
it
was
wasn't
like.
just the foot, it's
No,
like
it's like you
your
would
whole
touch me
system.
anywhere. It was like, oh.
You're alone, right?
Yes,
So
I
no
was
one's
alone.
helping.
I was completely alone, and I went into a full-fledged like remembrance of that burning at the stake and being like really shamed, and to a point where you die. Like, I think we all have that scar. I mean, I don't know. You guys maybe didn't remember it, but I think the most light workers carry that. On a collective level, if it's not maybe your own fractal, it's still in the divine rising. This is something that needs to be integrated. And if you don't want to talk about the divine itself, only just and we spoke about that on the podcast too, being shining your light or showing your gifts and your intuition and your healing powers has throughout history been something that killed you,
Right.
that threatened your survival. So
Yeah.
that scar is very present in us. you know.
Right. That stay small.
Yeah, dim it.
Last time you spoke up, that didn't end well.
You burned, you know. But even in religion, the fact that Christ died because he was so miraculous and so good and so, you know.
Or he was preaching something that people didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
His message
It
was
went
something
against.
people weren't ready.
It happens to prophets usually. Like even Muhammad, he has to flee because his message was going against the whole society. He came and he saw a lot of things that he didn't agree with, like the people are just drinking and killing baby girls and just kind of debauchery society. And he came with rules, and they wanted to kill him, persecute. And he had to flee from Mecca to Medina. But I think it happens to people who wants to change,
in, man.
to change
if
society.
If your message is resonating with people, and they're into it, then you're just part of that group. But if you come in and be like, hey, the way we're doing things right now, this isn't bode well. You know, we should really rethink. They're like, what? You know, so that you wouldn't be a prophet if the message was something that people were ready to hear. The whole thing is bringing something that you're not quite ready to hear yet, and it's. Yeah.
But there's trauma there, because all prophets have like a sad, dark story. Like, it doesn't end up well for them. So there is like woven into our collective traumas is this, like, don't shine, don't speak up. Those narratives don't end well for you, you know. So the survival mechanisms kick in at this point. That's why shadow work is necessary, you know. And some of us just go without being intentional, you know. Life just gives you, like, serves you your shadow work, and it's just like, work on that. It's right there, you know. And sometimes it you know, there's other layers, and there's so many layers of it, right? And past lives, I've done a lot of guided meditation that regress you, and I've always been fascinated by that. So I've always had a feeling. We've talked about reincarnation. I've always known that there was, like, multi-dimensionality to my identity, or to who I identify as self. So this witch one was just during the shadow work time, but I've had so many remembrance, like so many past life
is it
memories.
Just felt in your nervous system, or did you actually have, like, cognitive images of, like, feeling? Like, did it become like that level of memory, or was it more just energetically feeling the burning of being on the stake?
That time, I felt it, because I was already feeling like I was burning.
Right.
And it, like, propulsed me to that time, to that moment at the stake.
It kind of like
So you saw it.
Like,
saw it?
It was like I saw it, I felt it. Wow. It was like I was there at the stake burning for
Did it arise any
moment.
fears or anything? Or how, like, what were the follow-up emotions?
You know, it's like getting out of your body and plugging into a memory for a moment, and then you come back into your body, and it's just like the release of that. It was just, I was bawling for like hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good. So you finally got to grieve.
I grieved that, exactly.
Nice.
And I let go of it, like, okay, well, I just burnt my foot with pasta.
Yeah. Right. This is how it happens, man.
Yeah.
It's funny because my one of my big releases involved pasta.
What? What do you
Viva
mean?
pasta.
What do you mean? One big release is involved.
Let's go.
I orgasm when I eat pasta. There's a lot of release. No, I was on mushrooms one night alone in the middle of the week, and I was having a lovely trip. And I remember going outside and, like, just in awe of nature and, like, looking at the trees. Like, it was kind of that time of night where the sky was, like, still light, but the trees themselves were dark. And I remember thinking, like, if this was a statue, this would cost millions of dollars. But instead, it's, like, free. Like, isn't it amazing? So I was like, I was having that kind of trip. Yeah. Came home. One of the kids wanted dinner. So I was like, all right, popped myself off the couch and started making, which is lovely with mushrooms and kind of be in and out. You know, it's like, oh, I'll take a little minute to be a mom, doing making the pasta. And as I was making pasta, I was remembered of my daughter, Max, who I lost, and how much she loved pasta. And that brought up a lot of grief. It brought up, I could feel the grief rising. And my first inclination was like, no, we're not going there. But then I sat with it for a second. I was like, no, we can go there. Maybe I need to go there. And so I finished the pasta. I made it. I delivered to the kid, and then cleaned up whatever. And then I went into my room, and I let it come up. And wow, like wow. And that's when I would had these waves of grief, and I was like, this is where I felt like I was swimming in a pool of grief. So it's like that little trickle of grief that I was feeling about my daughter and not having the relationship with her that I wanted, and really losing her the way I lost her led me to this much deeper pool of grief that had nothing to do with her, but it was something that I'd been carrying around with me, and I didn't even know I'd been carrying around with me. Like there's this deep heaviness I didn't even know I had. And so anyway, it was the same thing, like bawling, take a break, have some water, go back to bawling. Like probably did that for a few hours. You know how that goes. And coming to and then what ended up happening, or what it felt like, is I was able to like articulate some words that I hadn't been able to say to her. And so I sent her a text, and just kind of what it feels like is I drained out this pool of grief, and at the bottom of the grief was this message of unconditional love. And so I was able to like express that to her, and then also by expressing it to myself, my own inner child who needed to hear this message of unconditional. Anyway, so yeah, it was pasta related that triggered that. And also then later realizing, like, and I think we've talked about this before, but losing her, like, what if I hadn't lost her? Like, what if my divorce hadn't brought it to the place where my kids are turned against me, and one of them never came like my relationship with her hasn't been the same ever. It's not even close. But if that hadn't happened, maybe I never would have accessed that pool of grief. Like it was that situation that made me sad enough to get to a place where I could release that. And so in a way I can look and be grateful for that experience, because if that hadn't happened. So anyway, it was over a bowl of or a pot of boiling pasta.
But you have a pasta story. Couscous.
The Moroccan version.
I mean, there's commonality, right? It's semolina in a way, no?
Yeah, semolina.
There you go.
This is it. The witch's cauldron is full of pasta.
It's full of semolina.
Oh my god! I don't have a couscous story. I'm joking.
I'm waiting for the story. Which? Yeah. But did you well, no, not you've never thought about past lives, right?
What?
So, tell me.
Well, now that we're talking about no, the thing that I have the deja vu things, it happens to me a lot. Like I'm living an experience, I'm like, I've already lived this before. Do you have that? But I like very
little things here and there,
but not like something that I'm like, no, I've been there before. I've had this conversation.
This feels familiar.
I've had this person.
A
before.
$1,000,000%. I have that a lot.
This is like before I started doing mushrooms and everything. I've had many times or like the things when you dream of somebody you haven't seen in a long time, and then you meet them the next day.
Or they call, or a message comes through. Yeah.
This happens
Yeah.
quite often. So, yeah.
What about you?
Past lives, I don't know.
I don't have any cognitive memories of my past lives. My attitude of past lives is, if whatever unhealed stuff needs to be faced, it's going to come up in this life. It doesn't. I don't need to connect it back to anything cognitively, to anything that happened in the past. Like if it's something that still needs to be healed, it's going to show up in this life, in however that shows up.
100%. And that brings a point that I wanted to say, is that we say past lives. I don't really believe that they're past lives, because if my understanding of the construct of time is it's only linear from my human perspective, the time space of the moment's perspective,
Of this plane.
yes, of right now. So there's no really past or future. There's only the present moment.
The eternal now.
Yeah, the internal now. So from that premise, from that understanding, then we can't say past lives.
Right.
So they are parallel lives. There are simultaneous narratives that my soul, I guess, is experiencing, and that's just whatever I could put into words, you know.
It's so hard from this
Yeah,
level and this
to use
brain,
language
yeah,
even to
like
put
it's
things and pff,
kind of futile.
yeah, but it gives an idea to be like, okay, well, these are different like experiences that the soul is going through, and you're a fractal of a soul that has that experience. And what if, you know, the fact that you identify as that light worker, that like leading edge, like you're leading this consciousness in this now moment. It is the self, the ego that we identify with. That's the one that's keeping us alive, because it's the perceiver, right, of the reality. So the past lives are really just kind of narratives, you know, and I guess the reason to be you don't need to be conscious of them, like you said, because life will bring you whatever you need to work on. And
Yeah, I've never seen the value of like going out of my way to do like regression therapy or whatever to like see, oh, there I was in 1684, I was on this battlefield and I was on this. It was just like I don't need to know the detail. I mean, I don't at this point I don't care to know the details. Maybe someday that will change, but
right. My curiosity was piqued when I read a book called Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss, who was a psychotherapist. Like, and that dates, like that book is old, like 80s, dare I say, or maybe
so
90s.
old, the 80s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well,
Ancient texts.
Come on, for us, it's old. Yeah. And or maybe older. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know.
But it's more modern.
I
It
read
wasn't
it.
like,
I read it,
from
and it
the-
was already like an older book. I in my like 20. I was 20, maybe 21 when I read it. And this, so it's about a doctor who's like a trained medical psychotherapist who had this patient with a lot of anxiety. And he worked with her a lot in therapy and different methods of therapy to heal certain traumas that she was aware of because they were in her linear narrative, her linear story,
her present life.
her present life. However, she would still get these very powerful dreams that would jar her and render her almost like non-functional in her waking life, you know? And she couldn't put her hand, so the anxiety kept coming, and he tried hypnotherapy on her. And it was, I think, she was one of his first patients or something. And she started recalling so many lives, which were different aspects and that had different things to, you know, we create because of narrative. The only reason like we can render a reality is because we have a story running. So there's so many stories that were stored that once were brought to the surface were then let go of, and that released so much from her, I don't know, I guess her biofield that she has in this life, and that's on her journey what she needed to do. But I definitely believe that we carry so many stories, but we don't. If we need to be conscious of them, life will bring that awareness.
Like
And
for
if
her, it
like
came
for
up in
her,
her dreams.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, and it came up with, you know, with that journey with that psychotherapist that made her conscious of these memories, and once she was conscious of them, she was able to let go of them. And how simple that is, you know. Whereas some of us need to viscerally go through certain aspects, I guess, of
It was
of,
enough in hypnotherapy to
yeah,
keep it out. Like
absolutely, just recalling the memory and allowing it to come to
bringing
the
from the subconscious
to the conscious. Let's go of the emotional charge, or, you know, the energetic. If we just want to go back to like, it's all energy, it's all vibration, it's all frequency. But there's cluster, you know, when things cluster up, it creates a certain frequency,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that depending on the frequency, it could block in certain like the emotional fields.
Yeah,
You know?
the things that she didn't need to.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
didn't serve her
Yeah.
anymore. So I think just awareness lets go of it. And sometimes the only way to be really fully aware of something is to go through the visceral experience of it. So yeah, it's safe to say that we each have our journey with that, but that yeah, past different aspects of our souls. We can change the lingo. We all, but still, all the mind trying to make sense of things, right?
Right, trying to
Yeah.
get it in order and seal up any leaks and discharge or feel things that still need to be felt. That talk about hypnosis brings up a story that I've been on my mind a lot. So a couple podcasts ago, I mentioned this. No, that was a different guy, but Jake Barber is in the ufology stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, Chris Bledsoe, he's been in the field for a while. He had an experience apparently, and for a while ago, and since then he's had many interactions and with UFOs and stuff. But for 4 hours, he was missing, and they don't know what happened to him. He can't even tell you what happened to him because he doesn't know, but it was UFO related.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime he tried to talk about or get close to it, he just got so emotionally charged he couldn't do it. And so they used hypnosis to bring him under and then get his subconscious to talk about what happened. So now he knows what happened to him, but only because through hypnosis. And during that session, apparently they were able to kind of like remove the block. So now he can talk about it in a way that's not so. It was just so much like his body, just like his conscious couldn't handle it, and so his subconscious recorded it all for him. So it's interesting. But his whole thing now is this whole idea, and this is related to what Jake Barber was talking about, this loving energy. So apparently you can summon UFOs if you're in a meditative state and like this loving energy, you can. So this has been my goal now, guys. Like I've been sick and it's been cold, but I want to like go outside in a field sometime and like just sit and meditate and see if we can get some orbs to show up.
Yes,
Are
I
you
mean,
on
have you watched what are they called? They're called the CE
CE5?
CE5.
Stephen Greer?
This is Stephen Greer.
Method? I don't know
That's
much
kind
about
of
it.
well, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah. Well, groups of people, they're
Groups
getting
of
together in
people,
the desert.
Guided
What happens
meditation,
when-
summoning with loving intention.
Yeah. And anyone can do it, apparently. You don't have to like go to one of these retreats. So I feel like
Well, yeah.
we've got some pretty good loving energy going here.
I think
like,
so.
Yeah.
we
Oh,
should give
I'm
it a
down,
shot.
definitely.
Yeah. So at Igloo Fest, I was there with a friend, and
Yeah.
you guys had left.
Yeah.
And it started snowing, and the crowd had kind of eased up a little bit, so we got more to the front. And like the last half hour, some heavy drum and bass, and like we were really going. I'm like, this night is perfect. All we just need is some orbs. And so it's just like, that would be cool. Maybe if we all like dance and bring some loving energy, we could get some orb action during one of our outdoor
When you
shows.
say
Yeah.
orb action, like what you
That's happened to me. Yes.
like what do you see something? Or?
Yeah, you see light, like balls of light.
That are moving in ways that current human technology can't
Ah.
really account for. I mean, there's obviously lots of human technology that's not in the mainstream we don't know about. So potentially this is man-made stuff that's just beyond what we full understand. I mean, there's that element, but I think there's also out of this world technology that's starting to show itself and wants to be seen, and it's making itself more and more seen because aliens can't show up if we're afraid of them. They need us to be wanting them and eager to meet them, and so I think that's why this loving energy is such an important component of it. But you've had this experience.
Well, it was yes at a picnic first season, Cree.
Yes.
Oh my
Cree.
god, I can't wait.
Shout out to Cree.
Get to see him on Friday.
DJ Cree. It was a magical night, and so funny, and really it was so much love. And you know when that it hits you like that big hit, like you know that like where you feel like it's just exploding,
Care Bear
ev-
style, like
Yeah,
out of your
yeah.
chest.
totally. And then I look up and I see orbs in the sky, and I'm like, what? And then I tell like the people around me, and everyone's like, "Whoa, aliens!" you know.
Oh,
But it's so
amazing.
funny how it's so like not like now. Like I'm telling
You
you,
find it normal.
yes, yes.
It's not, it
what's-
doesn't. You're not like, oh my God, what is
yeah,
happening?
you're
No,
not
it's
like,
like, oh, that's normal.
freaking out.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
oh wow,
Makes sense. Makes sense.
That's what they
wow.
need. That's
Yeah.
what we need. We need
Maybe
it to
that's
become
the
normal.
experience I had at picnic as well. When I saw them and they were talking to me, I was like, yeah, okay, they're talking to me. I don't know, the mushrooms. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Mushrooms
I-
open you
but
up.
I never believed in the alien. Well, I don't know, but I was not like, okay, the aliens. Like when you talk about them, you're like, you know a lot about them, and you read a lot about them. I was never like, okay, maybe they
You're
exist.
not, like, looking for
yeah,
them,
I'm not looking for them, and I'm very skeptical about this
Okay.
stuff because I don't know. I don't have any proof or anything. But when they start like talking to me, I was like, yeah, it's normal. Yeah. They're there, and they tell me like we are there. Like, see, look there, we are there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I was looking at them, and I saw like what you call the orbs. They're like kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sphere.
Yeah, they're just kind of doing a
kind
little
of
dance in the
sphere
sky.
Yeah, yeah,
thing coming out. Like, I don't
Oh,
know.
I think I've had like interactions with human aliens, like you know, like humans that like aliens that are like have they're inhuman.
Embodied
Yeah, humans. Really, I believe so. And also I've seen a craft come to my window, stop, and like zoom back out.
I haven't had any of this stuff.
Maybe you are an alien. Maybe
I'm
you
the-
are.
Starseed. You're
I'm
definitely a
the-
starseed.
No, well, I think I'm an earth seed in a sense where the fractal of my soul that's in this incarnate, like focused in this incarnation, is very much been there in the humanity's evolution since the beginning of this incarnation cycle. But I think all of us have like a counterpart, like a in our oversoul you have a fractal that's part of many different civilizations, and probably your soul has many also happening at the same time, many different experiences in different civilizations. So I think we're all connected in that sense, and that's so yeah, I am an alien, you're an alien. Like we all have, let's say, DNA from other stars, from other civilizations.
That makes total sense to me, that there's been some cross.
Yeah, there's so much
Yeah.
crossbreeding put into the human DNA, and that's why they're so invested in us in a way. Like aliens have an eye on humanity. They
Watching
don't
this grand experiment.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're watching us. They're invested in us. They
Studying us.
well, I think they're waiting to see like what's gonna happen, because
Are we gonna
are we
blow
gonna
ourselves
make it?
up, or are we
Yeah.
gonna make it to the
Yes,
next level?
Absolutely. Are we gonna
break out of this
ascend,
craziness?
or are we gonna combust in a sense? And there's so many incarnation cycles. This is not like our first time playing this round, right? They talk about Atlantis, Lemuria, so many cycles where
Apparently the fifth one I've heard. I don't know. I
that
don't get too bogged down in details.
Yeah,
'cause
maybe
it's
we'll
so
know.
much,
We don't
Someday
need
we'll
to know
know.
these things. Yeah, these details. But we're definitely at the brink of a big shift in humanity's evolution. So
It feels like we're gonna make it this time.
I do
Because we were
feel
talking
we're
about,
gonna
to
make it.
tie it back to where we started, about like in past carnations, this fear, stay small every time you expose
Yeah.
yourself. It's like this, for whatever reason, and maybe I'm gonna be murdered, but it feels different this time. It feels like, no, okay, now shine that light. Don't be afraid. We've got your back. Humans are ready now. That
Yes.
message, it didn't land before, but people are ready to hear it now. Like that's what it feels like. So that's exciting.
I agree. It's very, very exciting times. The most exciting times. Like I feel it in every cell of my being now. I feel like the shift has happened in a sense where, okay, no, now we're on a timeline that's not wonky,
No,
It's
people are more
it's not-
accepting of this kind of language, and yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
She's still sitting
I
here.
feel
She hasn't
it.
walked out.
But I feel it. I've seen even in like younger people in their 20s, and they're talking about all of this, like enlightenment and consciousness and breaking from all this capitalism and all this.
Yeah, they're- yeah.
So it's there. Like not people are not being crucified for talking like this. You know, it's just
No,
there's a
definitely.
big community.
It feels to
of
me like
people.
the war has been won. It's now just
Yeah.
like a cleanup effort now.
Mm,
You just
right.
kind of have to like. That's what it feels like to me.
I think so. I think it's just now we're like, okay, let's just make it happen type of thing. You know, we're on that timeline. Let's just make it happen. Let's
There is that.
Let's
I should
move
say
forward.
there are still some forces that are like clinging on.
course,
Like
yeah.
they're
'Cause
they're not gonna. There's in their mindset they're still trying to win, and so there's still gonna be some ugliness, some nastiness, some this like this really this trying ushering humanity into this more transhumanism stuff that we're seeing, where it's like that. Like I think we're gonna lose a lot of people to that. People
Yeah.
are gonna feel like
because
like
they're
Trump's their savior, Elon's
Yeah,
their savior, big tech is our savior. It's like, okay, that to me feels like a trap that many people are going to fall into. So there's still some of that. It's not game over in that sense, but if you can unwind and step back, it's pretty clear. Like, oh, okay, just we
but
don't fall. Like, the real lesson: don't have any idols, man.
Yeah,
Like,
don't wait for a savior.
Don't- yes.
Yeah, just like do your
Amen.
work by yourself. And
Yes.
yeah, if you wait for somebody to save you,
yeah, if you're waiting
you're gonna
for one
cling to
team
anybody
win,
who has something, but it's not. Nobody's gonna come and just save the whole humanity.
do
and-
the work, man.
Yeah.
You got to do that inner work. If you find your own authenticity, find your own 2 feet to stand on, because that's all.
And what might save you is not gonna save me. So we can't have like a common savior. Like the whole 7 billion people are gonna be saved by one person who's gonna look out for all this. Like it doesn't
No,
make any
no, no, no.
sense, right?
No, that's this the self autonomy and because that's always corruptible. If you've got people, this is like that. Those if there's a piece of you that's looking to attach to a piece of someone else, like if you're not a nice clean circle, if you've got this piece that and you've got someone who will glom onto that and they have that uneven exchange of energy, well that doesn't fly anymore. Moving forward, the shift is going to be people who aren't energetically leaky, aren't codependent, aren't looking to control others. Like if you still have those urges and tendencies, you've still got some learning to do in another plane, and that's fine. Like that's great. But moving forward, our society advances when it's everyone isn't looking for a savior. They're
right.
finding it in themselves. And through that can be loving to everyone around them. Like this isn't a selfish kind of loving yourself. Obviously, it's like it's enlightened. We're elevating. The game has changed. We're
Yes.
moving forward. So yeah,
we're
Exciting.
ascending. Now it's the time to you know how they say that there's the second coming of Christ, and now we understand that the second coming of Christ is each of us embodying the Christ consciousness inside. So we're the Christ. So we're the second coming.
It's
Right?
coming through each one of us.
Yes,
Yeah.
coming.
Why do they use Christ as a?
When you
the
think of Christ,
Christ
just
is
Yeah.
the consciousness.
Yeah, but like it's
translate it to charisma.
it's what, but I know, but like why?
Chariz.
Riz. No, but like, does it have to do anything with Jesus,
Jesus.
Christ?
Yeah,
Christ?
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
fact that he came and he
Well,
wanted
Jesus
to-
and
His
Buddha.
consciousness was running through him.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like it's running through you, it's running through me, it's running through her. Like that's
Well, he's an example. I guess he's the template of a human being embodying the Christ consciousness, which I think is the blueprint of our human potential. Like, this is the potential of consciousness in a physical body. You can create
Right.
miracles.
at
All
this
loving,
level, at
yeah.
this plane.
Well,
yeah.
in the plane of contrast and duality, which is our game. This is the game we were plugged into, right?
Which
Contrast,
Christ was also
dual-
plugged into.
absolutely.
And Buddha.
and Buddha,
Yeah.
and what-
There's been many
and
masters.
all the prophets,
Yeah,
right? The
yeah.
prophets plugged into, and masters, they all plugged into what right now I would term Christ consciousness,
Okay.
which is the highest potential of humans.
Not to be confused with Christianity.
Yes, no, the Christ consciousness. So now the second coming of Christ is really each individual
He's gonna become
become the
enlightened.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yes, embody that Christ
Yeah,
consciousness.
and don't. Yeah, it has nothing to do with Catholicism or
Yeah.
Lutheranism.
No,
or
no
any, like,
religion. This is not a
yeah,
religious
it's free
thing,
of
right? It's
organized
no.
religion.
It's sovereignty. It's the opposite, actually. It's being fully sovereign and knowing that divinity comes through you, and if it comes through you, it comes through the other. And this is how we move. I think our evolution is that movement. Our ascension is that movement from separation to unity, to oneness. And then through oneness, celebrating the unique expression of each one of us. Right? That's
It's
the
that
ride,
balance, yeah.
right?
It's
Yes.
like when you can recognize the divinity in yourself, then you can recognize it in anyone else, and you can see past their trauma, their quote unquote flaws, to see, oh, they're as divine as I am, So there's that, but also but the unique flavor that each of us brings
spark,
to it.
yes.
Yeah, so it's like a big puzzle, and we all come together to form this beautiful picture, but each individual piece has its own little shape and color, and so there's it's like separate and whole at the same time.
Absolutely.
I think I reached that when I was on a tripping on mushrooms, and I was sitting here and I was talking to myself, and I was like, yeah, you are God. And I was looking at this bright light. It's always like so bright that I feel like maybe there's a projector in my eyes.
Yes.
And then when I open my eyes, the whole room is super dark. And I was like, and it was, my neck felt like was pulled by a rope from above, and
You were being hung.
we
were burned at the stake. She was
no,
saying.
I was not being hung. I was being pulled. Like
Joan of Arc.
it's like I wanted
she was burned
to
too.
go higher and higher, and it kept telling me, like, I'm talking to myself as God. It's like, I am God. Like, what are you looking for? You are God. Like, it's just
But we are. Yes.
Yeah, you did it. You're there, baby.
She's like, I'm confirming, Magda. What's wrong with you?
I'm not saying like
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just like, this is what happened when I was in that moment.
And it feels
It's
totally natural.
yeah.
Like, it feels like it's kind of funny when you look at it. It was like, how could we be anything but God? Like,
Amen.
if all is energy, and there were just this big blob of energy, like, of course we're all divine. How could we not? You can't help but be divine.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why it's like, I like that language of remembering. You don't become enlightened. You already are. It's just remember. You have to remember that that's who you are. That's the work from my perspective.
Yes. And then once you remember, then the excitement comes in, because now we can become. And the becoming is the fun part, right? Because the remembering is, you forget, and then you're getting the memory, and it's work to get the memories and to integrate them. And then you're like, whoa, I'm the spark of the divine. And now, what does that mean? That means becoming that spark, becoming that light in the body, and then affecting matter, so affecting reality. So if each of us really starts integrating that feeling, like not just saying intellectually, oh, I'm the spark of the divine, I'm divine, I'm God. Okay, so then
what are you gonna do without
that means
with that?
we create our reality. That means we're the ones affecting every single thing that's happening to us. Everything. Like, there is not one speck of dust that's not our doing, our personal doing in our perception. So then okay, let's become that divine that's creating in the matter, So that's the exciting part, right?
Yeah. Like, when it occurred to me, or when I remembered that I am, like, I had that message, you are a son of God, you're a warrior of light. Okay. And then it's like, but it took some time to figure out what that meant. And then when it kind of clicked in, it was just like, okay, so, all right, I'm a son of God. Okay. I'm going to really lean into that. So how would a son of God treat other people? How would a son of God treat themselves? How would a son of God show up? How would a son of God dress? What would a son of God do? It was just like, for me, it really focused my attention on joy. Like, it was just like, if I was born to if I had infinite money, which I believe I do, I think we all do. I think abundance is real, and this scarcity is something is part of the
Created
illusion.
by
Program.
Yeah. So I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to, like, all that's taken care of. I just get to focus on having a good time and sharing that good time with the people around me. I can do that. I'm down. And that's what we've
Fun
been doing.
begins. Yes. Amazing. And then we can get to sit and talk about being God.
I don't know if there's
And
much
I'm
more
putting
to
it on
say.
YouTube.
We're being humble gods.
This
Goddesses.
is our last podcast.
Goddesses.
Goddess, babe.
Hey, we don't
need to
say a
rebrand.
queen, goddess, empress, high
Yeah,
priestess.
so 2025 is big goddess energy
Yes,
Big.
it's the rise
And I
of
think
the
that's the-
divine feminine.
and more metallics.
Yeah.
Metallics.
But isn't metallic as well like that like energy? It's feminine, right?
Yeah,
it's,
because I think in my culture or something, that's women, gold like change your vibration. That's why men give gold to goddesses.
Yes.
It's like the way you react to gold is a very like feminine kind of way. And when men go and ask women to marry them, they have
give
to
them a
bring
lot of gold.
because I don't know how you feel when you it's been like in ancient, like women had to wear their jewelry and it's something that make them
Adorned.
feel them like, okay, I'm a goddess, I have to be beautiful and wear all this gorgeous jewelry it's kind of a status, or just like when you're sitting there in all your beautiful gold and clothing and people are bringing you offering, that's because they know you are divine. They know that you don't have to ask for it. People are bringing it to you because they know that's what a goddess deserves. And we have moved out of that, and I feel really sad for like how women now have to ask for it, you know,
But
instead
there's
of
also
just
a tackiness I find in
Yeah.
a lot of, like, there's something about like well, yeah, gold especially, because I think there's right, like there's metals that are more conducive to like the energy that bring, like I think crystals has a lot of this too. Some have different energies, but I don't know enough about it to speak about it, but yeah, I think there is something about gold and from energetically, like how powerful it can do. But yeah, just like the way you would, it's just like the way you would decorate your home, like to decorate your body in a way that's tasteful and pleasing, and you know, like I think from my perspective, it's like, yeah, like why not have
Well,
fun?
beauty is very important. Like your environment, you can't be good in an ugly environment. Like if
It's
you
a
enter,
reflection of-
if of your energy. If you enter a room and it's like all cluttered and nothing, dirty, and the walls are gray or like, how can you just be in a good vibrational energy? Like
It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's hard. Or like like when I walk into spaces now that are like, I'm aware of it now. I'm sure it was always true, but when you walk into spaces that are like cluttered or too much stuff, it's just like it's like, all right, I don't need to be here.
You can't function in a nice frame.
Yeah.
Well,
and there's a wide range of.
I would say some artists would beg to differ. You know, some artists only can create in a very chaotic environment. You know, if it's very organized or whatever, it's maybe like sterile in terms of creative flow. Or I think what's important is aesthetics. I think and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and everyone has different needs in terms of how they need their environment. But of course, in our human experience, like our visual is like so much information in the story, right? Like in your that narrative that we talk about that's playing, what your visual cortex takes in is such a huge part of the story that's playing. So if you have a nice environment that's pleasing to you, then you're adding so much positivity into just a
I find spaces are a really good representation of what's going on inside. So so I imagine
it's reflective.
everyone's pleased in their space, whatever it is, until they're not. I remember being fine more or less with my space, and then going to someone else's and be like, wait a minute, this is pretty nice. Like, and then when I came back to mine, I'm like, okay, I can make some changes. I could, like, I wanted to upgrade and, you know, even if without spending any money, just like cleaning out this corner, moving things, you know, like you just, but some people are very comfortable in the chaos.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's because inside there's some chaos. And so that's like, it's just a reflection of who they are. And that works for them until it doesn't. Or maybe it always will. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah.
We got another hour.
Another hour. Let's go. We can do it. Easy
we
peasy.
Good. We didn't get to talk about two things.
Which one?
Kanye West.
You wanted to talk about Kanye
Well, he
West?
showed up at the Grammys with his wife. Did you guys?
Oh
see this?
yeah, she was wearing nothing.
Yeah.
He was wearing nothing. No.
No, she was wearing a fur coat, and then when she went to get photos, she removed it, and she was wearing a transparent dress. So
fully she's basically naked.
Yeah, she was naked, and people were.
So there was that.
And
because I
have zero feelings about it. Seriously.
Oh, for me, it brought up some stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
I couldn't care less. Like, I don't care about these people.
What did it bring up?
Well, for me,
What?
in my own, my husband and I went through a phase where he liked it when I was wearing like really risque things in public. And I just saw, I don't know, from her, I don't know their situation. I don't know who she is. Before that happened, I didn't even know he was married or whatever. I didn't even, but there was something
She
about
looks
the
just
look
like
on her
Kim
face.
Kardashian.
Yeah. But that there was something about it. There was just like, I just remember when it was me, how uncomfortable it was. And like, I remember like he liked it when I didn't wear underwear with really short skirts and then sitting down and like just always tucking it. I was like, oh, and so it just like, it brought up that. Like, it's like,
I
ooh.
understand that because it was not your choice. It was
I
him controlling
don't know,
the way.
At one point, I was like on board and kind of into it, but then it crossed over, but I couldn't say no. And yeah, so it just, I don't know, it just brought up some stuff that still was like, ooh, okay. I mean, I wasn't traumatized by it, but it was kind of I maybe forgotten about those things, and then remembering that I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then the other thing was,
So you think he's the one telling her to wear this kind of
I
things,
think he gets off on his wife and being with someone like kind of the public humiliation, or I don't know. I have no idea what's going on in Kanye's head. I'm not even gonna try.
Nobody knows what's going on in his
and
head.
then the other thing was the Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively
yeah,
situation.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Oh, it's too
know.
I know them.
Into it,
So
yeah. But in this
I
lawsuit,
have, like, little
there was a letter that she sent to the production of the film and it was like, I don't know. It looks like, from my perspective, it looks like it was written by Ryan Reynolds. Like, it looked, from what it seems to me is he was jealous of her. He was jealous of her relationship with this other guy who happened to be the director and co-star of this film that they're in, and he couldn't handle it, and he was insecure and highly psychopathic. I think Ryan Reynolds, yeah. Anyway, and so
Hollywood.
this letter is being sent, and it looked to me like it was written by him, but it's sent from her. Okay. And part of my divorce, my ex wrote out something, and he made me send it as if it was coming from me, and so it brought up.
So
some
this
of
is
that
just
stuff.
so this is through your experience because all right,
like
okay.
like highly psychopathic stuff. Like this.
Wow!
Yeah,
I
so it's
didn't
like-
read. I just read a little bit of people mocking them mostly.
Yeah, I think they're on the downfall. People are kind
just
of
making memes
over their
about
bullshit.
her, like when she has sex with him, she thinks about the other guy. It's just people making fun of the whole situation.
And I mean, she's probably not the nicest person in the world either, but I feel like we should reserve judgment on Blake Lively until she's away from Ryan Reynolds. Like, if she ever leaves him, let's see what happens to her.
Oh, okay.
She might be fully narcissistic. I don't know. And she's acting narcissistic right now. And I understand how that works. And in the narcissistic community, in the recovery community, we call it like developing fleas. It's like if you're around someone who's narcissistic, you start absorbing some of that behavior. I don't know. Maybe she's just, I mean, if you're successful in Hollywood, you're probably a narcissist. But I feel like we should reserve judgment on, if she ever leaves him, give her a chance to see who she is. She might be a full narcissist or not, but until she's separated from him, we don't know if it's her, because yeah, I'm seeing a lot of my dynamic in that relationship. Him being jealous and then using her to communicate. Like, so I don't know. But get out, like, girl. Like that's.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Right,
I'm
he
going to go and
highly
check that letter
He
to
seems
see.
highly psychopathic to me.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my
No,
God! So he's
uh,
all this charming thing that he plays, and his humor is just like a
yeah,
cover
it's a
for
it's
his
a funny
typical,
mask. Yeah,
typical.
and I think he openly talks about like not having a good relationship with his father and wanting better. So there's enough in his past that would point to someone who's very damaged, and so much love to him, and I hope that he can find some peace in his life. But no, he seems that stuff hit me in a way that was like, yeah, this is scary. This is a scary situation, and I'm sure alone, she at home cannot say no to him. That's the vibe I'm getting. Anyway, on that note.
On that note, yeah.
Free Blake Lively.
Free Blake Lively. Don't judge her yet. She might be an asshole, but we don't know.
Give Blake Lively a
I
chance.
don't know.
Okay.
All
All right. Love you
guys.
guys. All right. Love you.
Oh, I'm not gonna do it today because I might still be a little.
Right.
But I'll do.